What's up, YouTube Gen X? I want to give you guys my Red Tails movie review. Gave the movie a B- overall. And the only reason why it's a B- and not like a flat-out C is because the action scenes were they were okay. Right? You know, they did a good job with the action or whatever, and the aerial fighting or whatever. That was cool to me. It's clear that they spent some money, in special effects or whatever. So I do give that. I like that kind of thing. So, with that, I gave it some points. But overall, I'm somewhat disappointed, considering the fact that George Lucas pretty much was a selling point of the movie. Right? Oh, it's Mr. Star Wars, Mr. Big Name, film creator, whatever you want to call it, producer, whatever, Big George Lucas. And I felt like that was a selling point, which annoyed me from the word go, as opposed to the selling point being that, hey, this is part of American fucking history that people have to understand. In terms of, the contributions that black people have made, but they went with a sort of, hey, look, it's George Lucas. Not even with the acting power, not even with, Cuba or Terrence Howard or anybody else. It was George Lucas. Hey, look at what's going on. This is why you guys need to come watch it. George Lucas did it. So that, to me, kind of set a tone that was kind of annoying. And a couple of my friends, they felt the same way, and I'm sure a couple of you guys felt the same way as well. Which, to me, unfortunately, set the tone coming into the movie. But I gave the movie a B-, right? And I'm going to go through why. A, the dialogue was whack as hell. So whoever, was right, whatever group of people wrote the dialogue, it was whack because, to me, it was half-assed. I didn't really feel like they took the time to understand just how communication went. It didn't feel like this was, 1942 or whatever. Just hearing the people speak, it was very generic, very dry. It wasn't in-depth. I like that sort of shit where you could tell that the people who wrote the dialogue, they studied what people said, how they talked, the diction that they used, the slang that they used. That adds that richness to your film. But I didn't see that. I definitely didn't see that, with the language and, this, that, and the third. It annoyed me. It's funny because I was talking to a classmate of mine, and we were talking about, the Sherlock Holmes Game of Shadows that came out a while ago. And what I loved about the first one that they did, the remake with, what's his name? Iron Man. Now I'm forgetting his name. But what I loved about that was that the dialogue was perfect. The dialogue was perfect. They're using all the slang, all the diction that they used in England during that time period, and I loved it. It added so much character to the movie. Right? So I'm, expecting that sort of treatment with Red Tails. I didn't see that. The conversation was dry, generic, cheesy. It just wasn't there. And that annoyed me. Number two, the acting. Now, part of it was the dialogue being weak. If you have weak dialogue, it's going to hurt you as an actor. It's like, here you are, and you're a great basketball player, but you have poor equipment, so it doesn't matter how good you are. If you have poor equipment, your shoes are fucked up, the basketball you have is flat, the rim that you have is whack, that's going to hurt your game. So that, in part, hurt some of the acting, but when it came to who they chose in terms of the act, what roles, I was somewhat annoyed. I hate when they use rappers or R&B artists or celebrities to act in movies because y'all can't fucking act. Neo was horrible. He was fucking horrendous. He sucked. And I hate to say it, he hurt the fucking movie. He was whack. Now I see why Samuel L. Jackson said a while ago, he voiced his concern. I don't want to say it was in regards to LL Cool J or somebody else, but he voiced his issue with using black entertainers as actors because you're not actors. This is not what you do. Acting is a craft. It's a skill that you work and you perfect. Anybody can act. This idea that, hey, we can act. No, you hurt your fucking movie. And it's the fucking truth. So I didn't like that. You know, they do that a lot. I don't want to see Tyrese. I don't want to see Ludacris use real fucking actors. Now, I understand that the movie didn't have this big-ass budget, right? Which is annoying to me because then people want to act like this should be the end-all, be-all in terms of, you know, major market films focusing on having an all-black cast, but they didn't necessarily break the bank in getting the best of the best in the movie. Right, which is annoying to me. How are you going to do a half-ass effort and say that this half-ass effort is going to, you know, be the referendum on black movies from this point on? It's annoying to me. But I understand that the movie didn't have a crazy budget, but this is where you get young talent. Young actors, right, who nobody knows. They come in, they do a good job, and now they have a name for themselves. We see it all the time with white actors or whatever, where they start off on these small roles and it's like, hey, this guy did a great job. This young actor did a good job and his career blows up. But you don't get that when you use these fucking entertainers to act. And the dumb part about it is that supposed to make me go see the movie because Neo's in it? Oh shit, Neo's in it. Let's go see it. Like, fuck that. Put some up-and-coming young black actors in that fucking movie. Let them act, right, do their thing. Right, because this is their craft, this is what they're passionate about, and that will help the movie out. This is what they do for a living. And that adds to the richness of the film. So I had a big problem with that. And once again, you know, the fact that the dialogue was poor hurt the decent actors in the film. Like, what's his name? Easy. The dude that was in The Great Debaters, he's a decent actor, right? You know, he's a decent actor. Some of the other guys were okay. But once again, the dialogue was a setup for failure. You know, it is what it is. It's a setup for failure. So even if there were decent actors on the film, the dialogue was so whack that you really just couldn't get into it, which was annoying to me. You know, some of the behaviors that they put out there, I'm like, come on now. Like, it wasn't good enough. In my opinion, you know, it was there, but it wasn't good enough in terms of painting these men in that sort of heroic, hey, you know, this is what we're doing, look at how we conduct ourselves, look at how we operate. It wasn't enough. When you compare this shit to all the other films Hollywood has did, war-based films that Hollywood has did, it just wasn't enough. Where you felt like you knew these soldiers and that man, a part of you went away if they died. They didn't do enough there. Third thing that really annoyed me, and I know Willie P touched on it, and I know that a lot of people are going to touch on this as well, which I don't blame them for, is the whole interracial love thing. First of all, no one is saying that that is not realistic in terms of, you know, you're having your soldiers who are on a foreign land fall in love or have kids with the women, with the country that they're occupying or wherever, where they're stationed at. It happens all the time. You know, it is what it is. I understand that. So that is understood that you have that going on, so no one is saying that that's not historically accurate. But first of all, it was poorly done. It didn't add any richness to the character. What was his name? Lightning. It didn't add anything to it. Like, it wasn't a passion-felt story. So it didn't do anything. They could, honestly, they could cut that part of the movie out, and really, it wouldn't make a difference, to be honest with you, because it didn't add anything. It was just poorly done. She couldn't speak English, so how the fuck do you love her? How are you so close or whatever? It was whack. You know, it's one thing if he was getting his swerve on or whatever, and that's how they painted it, but this whole, meaningful relationship, I love you, this, that, and that, it was forced, and it was horrible. They didn't do a good job at it. And what annoyed me was the blatant disrespect, not just for black women, or the indirect disrespect of black women, but the indirect disrespect of the families. Right? These men, definitely, as Willie P put it, we know were married to black women, were fiancés, you know, had girlfriends, had children, had sons, had daughters. They were somebody's son, somebody's cousin, somebody's uncle. And these families back in the States, right, had to deal with a lot with these men not being here. Obviously, these men were part of the best and the brightest, right? So they're over there fighting a war that takes an emotional toll on the families back at home. And the fact that they didn't fucking touch on that once annoys me. It really does, because that would have added the richness to what they're doing. It would have made that connection stronger to know that, damn, look at this dude over here fighting this war back at home. You know, he has a fiance or he has a couple of kids. And you see this all the fucking time in all your other white war movies, where they make sure that they connect the soldiers to their families back at home because it adds to their character. Oh, look, he's over here fighting, you know, but he has this baby boy on the way. Right? Or, you know, his mom, you know, he has this close relationship with his mom because the dad also died in the war. Like, they didn't do that, which annoys me. Now, I'm not a director or whatever, but to me, it would have been easy. I would have loved for them to, let's say, had parts of the movie where you had the soldiers, okay, write letters to their loved ones back at home. You know, and then they show the loved ones reading those letters and crying and being happy and rejoicing. Oh, hey, babe, I killed my first, you know, German soldier today or whatever. And it was a great celebration, you know, and you're showing the wife happy, the kids happy, the grandparents happy. You're right, showing that these men are family men, right? You know, and their families are happy for them. Or have it where, let's say one of the soldiers dies and unfortunately somebody has to go tell the wife, so I'm sorry ma'am, you know, your husband died in the line of combat, you know, here's his medal or here's his gear or whatever. Like, they didn't do that. Which is annoying because, you know, you're looking at Saving Private Ryan and all other shit where they highlighted that shit, which added so much to the fucking movie. They didn't do that. Instead, they give you some bullshit, you know, interracial relationship where the chick can't speak any English, fucking forced. And they have this deep, meaningful, loving relationship. It's very annoying. And it was an indirect slap in the face to the fucking families, right, who had to deal with the fact that, you know, their son is over there, right, you know, and once again, these are your highly educated, best of the best of black men over there, inferior equipment, poor treatment, and you're praying that these men are going to come home. But yet, they didn't touch on that at all. Once again, I don't have a problem with the fact that, you know, you had an interracial little relationship or whatever, right? But it was just forced, right? And it was horrible at the end of the day. So I think I've covered everything that really annoyed me about the movie. I don't want to be too critical or too hard, but once again, if people want to make this out to be this sort of, you know, end-all be-all for black film, no. No, if you weren't breaking the bank, if you weren't putting everything into the fucking movie, don't give me that bullshit. Just because George Lucas did it, or just because George Lucas produced it, or whatever he did. Don't give me that shit. Because everything wasn't put into it. I mean, how many fucking war movies have we seen where they're going hard? Pearl Harbor and all these other movies where it's just like, you know, we're going to get the best of brightest and we're going to put everything into it. But here we get this half-assed sort of effort and this is supposed to be the end-all be-all. Well, George Lucas did it, so this is, you know, this is it. No. I mean, especially when, in a sense, you're not necessarily dealing with this sort of fictional movie where it's really about creativity and it's really about, you know, building some story and creating this movie from the ground zero. No, this is based off of historical events. Yes, there's twists here and there, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's not as if this was something that was just developed from ground zero. Let's create a plot. Let's create a storyline. You know, let's create this story and go with it. No. So in a sense, it was a simple sort of concept to put together. Let's just, you know, focus on actual events that happened and put our twist on it. You know, it wasn't from ground zero, so I don't understand how this should be, you know, the end-all, be-all for black film. No. Don't like it at all. You know, so it is what it is. You know, I'll probably, following this one, you know, do some other thoughts on black film, right, and you know, black movies or whatever, because, you know, at this point, I have little faith in this area, right, for a lot of different reasons, but I have little faith, and part of those reasons is what black people are willing to support. Spike Lee said it best a while ago. As much as people want to complain about Tyler Perry, black people put him in power in terms of paying money to go see him. Right? You know, when we had Miracle at St. Anna, it only made 8 mil, 10 mil compared to what was put into the movie. We didn't go see it. So I'm curious to see, you know, if we're going to go see this one, because then we'll turn around and complain about Tyler Perry not doing this, Tyler Perry not doing that. I mean, in Tyler Perry's defense, right, he can easily say, listen, hey, I want to do certain movies, but black people aren't going to fucking watch it. Let's keep it real. But let me not get sidetracked. You know, it is what it is. Overall, the movie gets a B-. I don't want to be too critical. I don't want to put it out there, oh, don't go see it. But it just pains you because it could have been so much more. And you can feel that everything wasn't put into it. It was a very half-assed sort of effort. Which it's hurtful because it could have really made a strong statement about what we have here. But nope, you got what we got, stamp George Lucas' name on it, and all of a sudden it's supposed to be, you know, credible. This is as best as it's going to get. Like, fuck that. Come on. It is what it is. Y'all take it easy. God bless.